Hello, I'm Kevin Carney with Inbound Marketing University, and I'm presenting this information on small business inbound marketing on the cheap. So I'm going to jump right into it and get right into the slide. So bear with me 1 minute while I do the screen share. Again, I'm Kevin Carney of Inbound Marketing University, and this presentation shows you how to market your small business online on the cheap. So why is this webinar relevant to you? As you well know, the lifeblood of every business is a steady stream of high quality leads, without which your business will either barely hang on or die a slow death. Your business needs leads, whether it's brand new, in a time of transition, or coming out of slump, as many businesses are, as this economic downturn comes to an end. The 20th century model of generating leads is based on advertising and face-to-face networking. Referral groups, an endless series of one-on-one coffee dates, chamber and other business mixers, ads in newspapers and local magazines, handing out brochures at various events, and of course, cold calls. Now, not all of these are completely out of date. I still attend some amount of referral groups, one-on-ones, and business mixers, but newspaper ads, brochures, and cold calls have become much less effective. I know some career salespeople of 25 years plus who tell me cold calling no longer works, flat out. They think it's because many people let phone calls roll to voicemail, but whatever the reason, a better way has to be found. Now I'll talk a little about the concept of technological disruption. While these disruptions we've all heard of are triggered by new technologies, these disruptions occur because of the economic aspects of these technological changes. The music industry was completely disrupted when the cost of distributing a single song fell to almost zero. And yes, this was enabled by the technology of the internet. The publishing industry was equally disrupted by the internet. As newspapers and magazines moved online, they ran into an expectation that content on the internet is free. And that's a tough one when what you sell is content. And marketing is now having its turn. The economic effect is the cost of publishing on the internet has dropped to almost nothing. You get a domain and a WordPress website, and you're off and running. And when you combine that with the way search engines are changing the way we look for stuff, marketing has been completely and forever disrupted. And that's created a need to network in a new way. Wouldn't it be great if there was an effective way to network across the internet that would benefit the businesses of the people participating? Well, the good news is there is, and I'm going to share that with you in this presentation. So who am I? Like many of us, I'm a refugee from corporate America. I have a bit of an idealist streak in me, and I believe in supporting small businesses in their efforts to compete against Wall Street businesses. I have always had a strong track record of teaching and coaching, even when I worked in high tech, both as an individual contributor and as a senior manager. My intention is to bring the power of effective online marketing to small businesses who cannot afford to hire expensive agencies and think incorrectly that this is something they cannot do on their own. While the cost of the infrastructure of your website is cheap, keeping your website current requires time, effort, and knowledge, and that is not cheap. As an SEO consultant, companies have paid me $2,500 plus per month to establish and grow their online presence. I exchanged messages on LinkedIn last week with a guy who runs an SEO agency, and their minimum is $5,000. If you cannot budget $5,000 a month, you can't work with them. I know some good agencies that charge $8,500 to $10,000 a month as well. Small businesses simply cannot afford that kind of money, but they've been repeatedly told that online marketing is too complicated to do on your own. This is creating what I call a digital marketing divide. And I'm here to tell you that you can do it both affordably and effectively, but only by doing it yourself. I'll show you the recipe and the secret sauce, which is actually not much of a secret, but for some reason is not often discussed. If you doubt how crucial your online presence is these days, just think about, where do you buy books? From day one, Amazon.com got the importance of a strong online presence. It is, in fact, the basis of their existence. Borders, on the other hand, was too late to get with the program. When you're looking for a place to eat, word of mouth recommendations are good, but sooner or later, we all wind up on Yelp. I even know some business owners who feel Yelp is evil incarnate for some of their business practices, yet when they're in a new part of town or in a new town and they're looking for a Thai restaurant or a burrito place, they go to Yelp. And how do you make referrals? Do you carry cards and brochures from your referral network and hand them out? Or do you send an email with a link to their website? That last point is that even people who are referred to you via a face-to-face meeting search for you online. They know your business and they know your name, and they search for you expecting to find your website. So having a website that is easy to find helps even with referrals that are made face-to-face. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase search engine optimization or SEO. However, SEO is one little piece of the puzzle. SEO is foundational to being found online. It has to be there. But in and of itself, it's not enough. And for that reason, and for other reasons, what you need is a fuller program of inbound marketing, of which SEO is a necessary piece. In a few slides, I'll explain what inbound marketing is and why it's so important. But first, let me explain the importance of being found via organic search traffic. And if you're unaware what that means, organic search traffic is everything that shows up in a search engine result page that is not a paid ad. Okay, this chart comes from a study from Bright Edge. Bright Edge is a large digital advertising agency that handles very large clients, most of which you've heard of. Companies like Microsoft, Adobe, Marriott, LendingTree, and other big brands hire Bright Edge. They do enterprise scale online marketing. They have access to the analytics of thousands of websites and billions of web server page loads. And while their study shows, what their study shows is that 51% of all the people who show up on their client websites show up because of organic search, while only 5% show up from all forms of social media combined. Inbound marketing is about attracting people to your website via organic search. You want to attract visitors to your website via organic search for a variety of reasons, some of which I'll touch on in a little bit. I guess I'll touch on them now. So there are two primary benefits of being found via organic search. Leads from inbound sources are significantly cheaper than leads from traditional advertising. Per HubSpot, who is a leading provider of rather expensive inbound marketing tools, Inbound leads cost 61% less than leads from outbound sources. Now, I cannot personally verify that it's 61 versus 62 versus 60 versus 59, but I do know from personal experience that they are in the ballpark. Leads from inbound sources are so much cheaper, it's mind-boggling. However, additionally, leads from inbound sources are also much better leads. They're higher quality. And this makes sense when you realize that the way inbound works is, by the time you meet your prospect, they already know what you do, and they have an interest in what you do. And you know this because they found you and they reached out to contact you. It's not unusual for inbound leads to close at twice the rate that leads from outbound sources do. Now let me share with you how Google rates website, which, by the way, is not a secret. Google freely shares this information, but for some reason it's not more widely known. Google works to quantify what web pages are of high quality, and they do this with human raters who have been trained in how Google wants them to rate web pages. They have a 4-point system, and it's very practical and down to earth. The highest rating that Google assigns to a web page is useful. I'm not kidding. That is the highest praise that Google assigns to any web page on the internet, is that it's useful. And perhaps you can guess that the lowest rating is then called, and I love this one, useless. I was going to chuckle out of that. But you got to love how practical this rating system is. The other two ratings are relevant and slightly relevant. So if you want your website to rank on Google and be found, it has to provide information that is useful to your desired audience. This slide provides a high-level overview of inbound marketing, and the next slide shows the recipe. The secret sauce follows in a little bit. In a nutshell, inbound marketing is all about attracting your audience to your website through blogging. Now, I know many people think of blogging as a hobby activity, but it is also the core activity of inbound marketing. We've just given it a professional sounding name to enable us to make it easier to sell to businesses. But business blogging by any other name is still blogging. And on top of the blogging activity, you overlay your marketing intention. You implement what is called your sales funnel through well-placed calls to action. In a nutshell, that's inbound marketing. And here's the recipe. You publish. And in terms of publishing, what matters is quantity, quality, consistency, and longevity. I'll talk more about these later. Networking is focused on what is often called link building. And again, more on that later as well. Conversion, of course, is overlaying your publishing activities with your marketing intention with well-placed calls to action. And commitment is what it takes on a daily basis to make this happen. I'm going to go through this slide again, as it is the recipe. The recipe consists of publishing content to your website that appeals to both people and search engines, networking with others for purposes of obtaining visible backlinks, overlaying your marketing intention on your publishing activities with well-placed calls to action, and being committed to this activity being a priority for your business. So let's talk a little about publishing. How often is often? Ideally, 2 short posts every day and 1 or 2 long posts every week. What makes this take only 1 to 2 hours a day is the focus on useful and short. An effective format is a question and answer blog where questions that prospects have asked you in the past become blog posts. 1 question and answer becomes 1 blog post. How good is good? On the one hand, you're not writing research papers. And on the other hand, your blog posts need to provide useful information. Finding the right balance is much easier than most people initially think. What is consistent? This means at regular intervals. Publishing twice a day, you schedule posts for every 12 hours. If you publish 3 times a day, you schedule posts for every 8 hours. When you later decrease your publishing rate down to once a day, you schedule posts for every 24 hours. And for how long? How long do you keep this up? When you consider that modern marketing looks like journalism, and rather than campaigns and advertisements, it's all about publishing, you'll understand that the answer is forever. You will keep this up forever. However, once business owners see this start to work, they become excited about doing this on a daily basis. Networking with other business owners across the internet creates a virtuous cycle where everyone helps to initially find everyone else. And I'll explain soon why this is so important. But for now, in terms of SEO, being found means being linked to, having your posts commented upon, and having your post shared in social media. Being linked to and being commented upon has a direct positive effect on your SEO. Being shared via social media exposes your blog posts to more people. The people who really like it are likely to link and comment, which has a direct positive result. So being linked to and being commented on has a direct positive result. Being shared via social media has an indirect positive result. Okay, so now comes the secret sauce, the value of community. One of the dynamics of being found online is being found online requires having already been found online. Websites that are known more rank higher. And again, being found in SEO terms means being linked to, being commented upon, and being shared via social media. Big businesses simply buy this. They literally pay people to link to them, to comment on their blog posts, and to discuss their blog posts on social media. Small businesses don't have money for that. So we need to band together to help each other out. And this banding together is the secret sauce. By initially finding each other's websites, again, linking to, commenting upon, and sharing via social media, we create a rising tide that lifts all our boats. Now let's talk about commitment. This will cost you 1 to 2 hours a day and $47 a month. The $47 a month is for membership in my online school and community should you choose to work with me. My question for you now is, if you could spend $47 a month and 1 to 2 hours a day on an activity that you knew would transform your business, would you find a way? And the answer, of course, is yes, you would. Well, I have seen businesses be completely transformed by this. In 5 to 7 months of diligent effort, I've seen them go from famine to feast. Would you like that for your business? Okay, this is what you need to make this happen. You need a WordPress blog. If your main website is WordPress already, you can use it. If it isn't, you can bring up a WordPress website on the side. You need a quality blog and to publish quality blog posts. You need royalty-free images. You need to build an internal link structure. And I don't have time to go in depth in this presentation, but I'll teach you what that means and how to do it. And you need a community of like-minded professionals to work with to create that rising tide phenomenon. Now I'll share with you a list of some businesses on whose behalf I either did this myself when I was doing peer consulting, and people to whom I taught how to do this who have had success. Residential remodeling, a weight loss retreat company, a motivational speaker, a functional medicine doctor, a wedding planner, healthy eating with a focus on Indian food, and Nepal tourism. This is a table taken from Google Analytics for one of the websites mentioned previously. It shows an 1,800% increase in organic search traffic in the first 2.5 months. This is a similar table showing another website where during the initial 3-month ramp up, the increase in organic search traffic was 5,200%. This is the website of the motivational speaker I mentioned earlier. After the initial 3 months, his website experienced a 2,300% increase in organic search traffic. And after 5 months, he was able to prove to his publisher that he had an audience, which allowed him to secure the book deal, which was his short-term goal. Social media has a place in inbound marketing, but as a supplement to your website, not in place of your website. Remember the Bright Edge study from earlier, and please pay particular attention to the next slide. This is a chart from Google Analytics, and it's from one of the websites mentioned previously, the Healthy Eating website. These initial spikes are when this student was sending messages out to her social media contacts and saying, come take a look at something on my website. And as you can see, they did, but each week, fewer and fewer came. Why? Because social media updates are interruptions, and we all already have too many interruptions. Yet you can clearly see when visitors started arriving through organic search, and you can see that the number of visitors who arrived through organic search greatly outnumbered the number of visitors who arrived through social media. Additionally, the social media visitors were people she already knew who came because they knew her. The organic search visitors came because her website matched something they were searching. This is the student with the Nepal travel website. And as you can see, she did not promote her blog posts to her social media connections, with the possible exception of this one spike. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, this phenomenon of new sites experiencing an initial delay in visitors showing up via organic search is so common, it has a name. It's called the Google sandbox effect, and people refer to a new website as being in the sandbox. This is one of the reasons why longevity is important. So here she's publishing, and at some point, the Google algorithm determines that her website is credible, is here to stay, and people start showing up. People start showing up through organic search. Okay, now let me address some of the common myths that are told about ranking your website. Myth number one is it's all about SEO. This is not true. It's all about publishing, where everything you publish is written for people and properly formatted for good SEO. But good SEO in and of itself is no longer sufficient. Myth number two, infrequent long posts work better than frequent short posts. This is also not true. Quantity and consistency are important for the ranking of your website. If you find you have 1,000 words to say on a subject, you're better off breaking it into a 4-part series where each part is 250 words. That is better than publishing one long post of 1,000 words. Myth number three, and this one is perhaps the most damaging, is that this is best left to the pros. If you can budget $2,500 a month on up, you can hire a quality agency who can build you an effective online presence. If that's too much for you, your only other choices are learn to do it yourself or don't do it. There are really only 3 options. Hire someone to build your online presence, build your online presence yourself, or accept the fact that you're going to have a crappy online presence. Those are your choices. Myth number 4 is that keyword research is critical. Once upon a time, this was absolutely true. A high ranking could be achieved by keyword stuffing your web pages and your website overall. But those days are over. If you recall the graph of the lady who did healthy eating and the lady who did Nepal tourism, they did 0 keyword research. Today, what's critical is publishing stuff your desired audience finds useful. And just take a look at what a little persistence can do. The graph on the top is the functional medicine website I referred to earlier. It shows the initial 2.5-month ramp up of her website. The graph on the bottom shows the same website over a period of about 18 months. And even though the doctor reduced the amount of stuff she published, the number of visitors to organic search has remained consistent. As a result of the inquiries she now gets to her website, she is now shifting her business model from a one-to-one fee-for-service model to a model of group training and health education where she can amplify her presence and offer services to a wider group of people. What Bruce Lee said is as important to your inbound marketing as it was to him. Long-term consistency absolutely trumps short-term intensity. People tell me why they can't start their business blog right away, and it generally comes down to one of two reasons. No one has time to devote 1 to 2 hours a day. And that's fine, as long as you understand the alternatives, which are hire an agency at $2,500 a month on up, or give up on online lead generation and sales. Alternatively, people tell me that they need approval to spend $47 a month. I can help you with that. But first, I want to emphasize one very important point about being found online, and that is longevity. While the best time to start your business blog was 10 years ago, the second best time is now. Remember the Google sandbox effect. What works in terms of being found and generating leads online is knowledge plus community plus action. I told you I can help with the $47 a month. The means of making the power of inbound marketing available to small businesses who otherwise cannot afford it came to me about 9 months ago. In a blinding flash of the obvious, I realized what was needed was an online school and community with a low monthly subscription rate. Since then, I've been working on the website structure and recording lessons. I am now starting to bring on students and build the community. When you join now, your monthly membership will be reduced from $47 a month to $27 a month forever. I still have, actually it's not quite that high, a couple of slots are gone. So it's like in the mid-30s. So I have about approximately 35. I have approximately 35 slots left open at this price, and don't let yours go to someone else. Look for the, actually the button doesn't say get started, it says join now. Look for the join now button on the right side of your screen and join us. Let's start building your online presence today.